Hey guys, so in this video, I'm going to share with you how you can launch your first cold email campaign completely from scratch so you can stop relying on referrals and finally start scaling your business. So, if you don't know me, my name is Gio. I'm the founder of Digital Bowlers. We help marketing agencies and B2B companies generate leads for their high ticket offer through cold outreach. And everything that I'll share in this video is based on a real-time feedback from over 50,000 emails that we send on our clients' behalf every single month. And I've also attached a couple of screenshots to show you that our approach not only helps to book calls for our clients, but they're actually converting those calls into the potential long-term deals, right? So without further ado, let's get into the video. So one of the most common questions is like, why cold email? Isn't cold email that and like all that BS? But to that, I would answer that cold email remains one of the most effective and cost efficient ways to generate leads in 2024. And people who say like cold email does not work for me say it for one reason only. They don't know how to do it properly. Their deliverability is horrible. Their scripts are full of fluff. Their offer is super weak or it does not exist at all. And their targeting is all over the place. So, yes, no wonder they don't see the results from their outreach because, like, cold email is not like just push a button challenge channel and you suddenly start like getting calls. That's not how it works. It takes work to nail down all the variables that will allow you to book high quality appointments on your calendar. And in this video, I'll share step by step how you can launch your first cold email campaign completely from scratch and do what I've mentioned above, right? So the first thing that we are doing here is set up domains and mailboxes because like everyone is so quick to write scripts, scrape leads, and start sending emails to the point where they completely overlook this step. Like they don't set up their domains properly, their mailboxes properly, and that's why their open rates hover over like 20-30% range. And I mean 30%, I'm being generous here. Usually it's even like lower, right? And when you do that, like nobody actually sees your offer in the first place, so you'll not book any calls, right? And here's what you should do to ensure your deliverability is always on point and you're landing in the inbox most of the time. So the first thing we're doing here is we're buying the burner domains. So it's like an alternative domain that you will use specifically for the outreach because you should never send mass emails with your main domain. Otherwise, you might get like flagged as spam and your main domain reputation will be tarnished. So your future company emails that you might be sending to your regular clients will start going to spam as well, right? So for that not to happen, buy about like 10 to 15 burner domains either on GoDaddy or Porkbun. Like both are great options. And the amount of like how many domains you buy depends on how much volume you want to send. So the good rule of thumb to follow is have two mailboxes for each domain and send about 25 emails per day from each mailbox. So from one domain, you'll be able to send about like 50 emails a day, right? And here's a like just representation of like how it should look like. Let's say like we have like one main admin panel, right? We have like different domains and every domain has like two mailboxes attached to it, sending about 25 emails per day. So just so you get it, right? And you should not really overthink what the names of these outreach domains is going to be. We can just add prefixes in the front. So let's say your main website is example.com. Your permanent domains will look something like goexample.com, tryexample.com, theexample.com, nowexample.com, and like you get the point, right? So one more thing that you should remember when you're buying the domains is you should never include any symbols in the name. Always use .com extension. Like I don't know why, but like .com extensions usually perform like the best. And you should buy them from a reputable seller. So GoDaddy and Porkbun, as I mentioned, are both great options. But when we actually move to like configuring your domain DNS settings, right? So after you already buy the domains, this is the part that can actually make or break your deliverability. And it's literally one of the reasons why most people's emails never reach the inbox in the first place. So it's crucial that you update the following records for every burned domain, which is like MX records, SPF records, DKM records, and DMARC records. Now, I will not specifically show you how, like, technically how you should set this up because I have another video and you can like watch this. I will include the link like somewhere right here. But what these records do is they let email providers know that it's really you who's sending the email, so nobody's like doing it on your behalf, well, like with ill intent. And if you use GoDaddy, like most of the setup will be done automatically, like of all these records. And if you use Porkbun, for now you'll need to do these steps manually, but I think they're releasing some sort of update that will allow you to do this with a few clicks as well, so it will be similar to GoDaddy, right? So after you do this, then you go to like setting up the mailboxes already. And something that I really want to emphasize here is you should never keep all your eggs in one basket. So email providers are cracking down on cold email every year to like make it harder for people to actually send cold emails. So it's no longer recommended to keep your mailboxes with one provider, right? So, for example, at the time of writing this, Outlook recently released a new update that significantly affected the user's deliverability. And even like not only people who send cold emails, but like people who regularly send just business emails to their like coworkers, their friends, like whatever it is, right? So the best spread you can have nowadays is keep 50% of mailboxes with Outlook and have 50% with G Suite, right? This will ensure that if one provider's deliverability tanks, the other one will keep you afloat. So giving you the ability to keep sending emails while adjusting to the changes at the same time, right? So if you have 10 domains, let's say, this means you can have like 20 mailboxes, get like 10 on G Suite and 10 with Outlook, right? So after that, you should also follow the like deliverability principles, like already in your campaign, in your sending tool, to make sure that like you're not messing up your any of your deliverability uh, settings. So even if your setup is done correctly, right? As I said, you should follow all these things. So email warm up is you should warm up your mailboxes for from at least like 14 to 21 days before you start sending with the tools like Smartlead or Instantly. And even after you start sending, you should always keep the warm up on. Now, like some people are recently testing sending emails without any warm up, but there's no clear data whether it's working or not. I'm just like doing for the warm up; it's working perfectly fine. So I suggest you do the same. Now, like Spintax your copy is the second tip. So Spintax is basically it allows you to write different, make your copy look different every single time that you are sending it to the prospect, like different prospects. Because email providers will be able to tell if you send like one same copy to like 1,000 of different people, so they know you are sending cold email and they're going to punish you for that, right? But if you have like Spintax inside your copy, uh, it basically changed the entire flow. Like one person receives like a copy that looks like for example A, another one like looks like B, and it constantly changes, so you don't get any issues on that. I will include the link how you should set up Spintax and a document that I will include below in the description. But after this, you should always send emails in a plain text. So never include any links or images in your copy. And also, I would suggest that you remove open rate or click rate tracking and focus on the reply rate instead, right? But if it's your first time like launching the campaign and you still want to see how many opens you're getting, okay, like have it on. But if you have it on, make sure that you use custom domain tracking, okay? Because like that still makes sure that you don't get as much pushback for like tracking certain metrics as you would do like without custom tracking, right? So track it for one campaign, make sure that you are getting opens, and then turn it off, right? So like following everything in a section will be the like biggest needle mover for your campaign, because like once you're confident your emails are actually landing in the inbox, then you can move on to the next step, right? Hey there, just a quick plug. If you want us to generate you leads on a monthly basis while you only pay us for the leads who show up to the meeting and you don't pay for any unqualified meetings, then I have a link down in the description. Click on it and let's talk. Now, back to the video. So the next step is identifying your ICP. And what most people do is they kind of create ICP out of thin air. Okay. And I'm not talking about if you are just starting out, then yeah, you might like test like different ICPs, see which one sticks. But if you are already getting results, if you already have the clients, and if you are already in the business, just identify who is your ideal client, right? So look through your past case studies and existing clients and answer the following questions like what industries are they in? How big is their company? Who are they targeting? What roadblocks, like what problems do they have? What goals do they have? And etc. Right? So basically spot all the commonalities between the clients you've enjoyed working with the most, right? And that will allow you to pick individual case studies and reach out to relevant prospects you are 100% confident that you can help. Plus, it will be much easier for them to trust your ability to deliver since you already done this before and have proof to back it up, right? So now, like this section will be come in handy when it's time to build your lead list, which will be a bit later on in the video. But now, the next thing is you should like tweak your offer based on your ICP. And I would say, like after the technical setup, this will be the second biggest needle mover for your successful campaign. Because, I mean, if you actually want to run a campaign that barely gets any results, then completely ignore this section, right? Because your offer decides whether your prospect respond or ignore you. And there are three main components that your offer must have. One is a quantifiable outcome. So, what results will your prospects get if they work with you? How soon are they going to get this result? And what happens if they don't get what you promised them? Right. This will determine the prospect's response when they see your email inside their inbox. The problem is most companies I've spoken to like have a service. They don't have an offer, right? And that's why most of the times their campaign falls flat. Because like let's be realistic, right? Out of these two messages, which one are you most likely to respond to? Somebody messaged you, hey, we'll build your website, and the other one messaged you, hey, we'll design your website to increase your conversions by 30% within 90 days, or we'll keep optimizing it for free until we do. Obviously, well, I would reply to the second one because like they're like everybody and their grandma is sending like this type of emails trying to like find somebody, one out of the 100,000 people who might say, okay, I want to build a website, because nowadays that does not happen, right? But the thing is, most companies don't feel comfortable like actually crafting an offer because they have to promise an outcome instead of a general service where they get paid without any extra responsibility, right? So whether the prospect gets a positive return or not, well, they don't care. They still get paid, right? And like they've been used, and like this happens because most companies have been used to selling to referrals so much that they think that complete strangers will respond the same to their offer or their service. But the truth is that rarely works with cold traffic, if ever. Unless it's your prospect's first time like accessing email and they've been pitched the exact same service like dozens of times, as I said, right? To the point where they've built a tolerance and just simply ignore such messages. Because like whenever I get there are a lot of emails I get that like on daily basis, okay, I know what this is about. I don't need this. And I'm not even opening it. Okay. I'm pushing straight delete. So if you don't want that to happen, then please take care of your offer, right? So here's what you should do if you actually want to sign clients from cold email and grow your business. One, analyze your ICP's potential bottlenecks and goals. So you should do this in a previous step. Then pick your service or services that can help them solve that problem or achieve a dream outcome. And turn that service into an offer by including these three components that I mentioned right here, right? So there's no script or magic lead list that will save you if you don't have your offer nailed down, because literally there's nothing you can say in the email if you don't have your offer nailed down, right? So if you slip on this step, you'll lose your potential clients to a competitor who knows the power of a strong offer, right? So okay, after you have your offer nailed down, then we actually move to the next step, which is building the lead list. So I would suggest with, as I said, with 20 mailboxes, if you have, you can like confidently contact like 3,000 leads every single month. So what you do is like, I suppose you already know who your best clients are, but like to nail down your ICP even more, you should answer the following questions, like what industry they're in, sub industries, employee count, revenue, decision makers, location, what tech stack do they use, what roles they can be hiring for, this and that. And every data provider has these filters to help you be more granular with your targeting. And it's not necessary to use all these filters. But the thing is, it will help you get a better idea of who you are going after. So, for example, you must always answer the questions like one, two, three, five, and six, because without it, there's no point in sending out even a single email. Okay. But there's one detail also that will make your cold emails hit right on the nail, and it's called relevance. Just because you have a list of decision makers with a specific employee count and in a specific location and industry, that does not mean your offer is going to resonate with them, right? So, to improve your chances of success, you will need to add a few more filters. So, questions like 7 and 8 will do the heavy lifting for you. Like this too. So, number seven, for example, if your offer is related to HubSpot, you can target companies who are using HubSpot, right? And the same goes for the hundreds of other softwares. And like eight, if you can also see whether a company is hiring for a specific role that like you can replace yourself, this will usually kind of significantly reduce your list size, especially if you are going after people who are hiring for the companies who are hiring for a specific role. But your targeting will be so on point that your list of like 100 people might book you more calls than general list of 1,000 people, right? So the common question we like you might also have is which data provider should you use to find your ICP, right? And I would say all the data providers have their pros and cons, but well, some of them are good for targeting startups, some are good for like targeting e-commerce stores, some are good for targeting coaches and consultants, some of them like have like much larger database, more general database. So it all depends. That's why it's crucial to first determine who is your ideal client before the data provider, right? Otherwise, you might end up on a platform that does not even have the filters to help you build a targeted list in the first place. So here are some of platforms we're using to build lists for our campaigns and our clients' campaigns. So Apollo and Listkit is good for more of a general data. Crunchbase is good for startups or SaaS companies, right? Store Leads is good for e-commerce stores, and D7 Lead Finder is good for local businesses. Now, this doesn't mean that you cannot find an e-com store or like SaaS or on Apollo or Listkit. It's just that there are platforms meant for targeting specific industries, right? And as I mentioned, like considering that you have like 20 mailboxes, you can confidently reach out to 3,000 prospects every single month with a three-step email sequence. So get your lead list and move on to the next step, which is writing the scripts. So here's the part that everyone rushes to, and like so did I in the beginning. But I learned that writing scripts is something that you want to do last. Because after you've dialed in your offer and built a relevant list of 3,000 prospects, writing copy will be so much easier, especially with a framework that I'm going to share with you, right? So I've seen a lot of people trying to include overwhelming amount of information inside their emails, and one of the reason being is having no offer, so they try to compensated with a bunch of fluff. And your prospects run companies, man. They have no time for reading an essay, right? So your script should be short and straight to the point. And here are a few crucial components that can make or break your script. So one is personalized first line. So mention the relevant reason why you reached out. You can also like poke a bear by asking them a question about their pain point to trigger an emotional reaction so they keep on reading your email. Second, offer, very important. Mention what you can do for them. Clearly state the quantifiable outcome, the time frame, and the guarantee or risk reversal, any of the two. Social proof, also very important. To make your offer even more believable, mention the relevant case study about how you helped a similar company achieve the results that you're promising them, right? And if you're starting out or if you don't have a relevant case study, try to leverage any of your past experiences that will give you any sort of authority, right? And fourth is call to action. So always end your email with a CTA. Don't push right for the call. Ask something that would gauge their interest. So questions like mind if I share more info or interested in hearing more will do just fine. That works for us. And I usually avoid statements like let me know if you're interested, like just because people hate being told what to do. Like I don't know why. Like I just had that impression from like trying this out. And I'm not saying like this is not going to work because like I know people who do it and it works just fine for them, but I'm just sharing my experience, right? So I just stick to the questions and stuff. So there are four main proven components that you should include in the cold email, what I listed right here. And you can also create different variations of the scripts. However, you should always include your offer and social proof in there. So otherwise, it will be extremely hard for you to book calls from your outreach, and you will need to send like a ridiculously high amount of volume to book like a few calls here and there. So I'm sure you don't want that, right? You want to get as many calls with as small list as possible. So below are the couple of frameworks we use at our agency to generate leads for our clients, so you can replicate them to yours as well. But I think my laptop is dying. Just a second. So yeah, the frameworks are so the one framework that we use is the first line offer case study and call to action. Like ideally, you want your cold emails to be like 3-4 sentences max. You know, you don't want to write a novel for sure. So, like example of this framework is something like, "Hi, first name, I was in your website, so you do this, this, this. We can increase your website." So right now, I'm just like making this up. This is not the real offer, but we can increase your website conversions by 30% within 90 days. Or we'll keep optimizing it for free until we do. We recently helped your like case study name here achieve specific outcome within time frame of working together, right? Mind if I share more info how we can help you do the same? That's it. We are doing this for our clients. Okay, we have great offer nailed down. Our targeting is nailed down. And when we just do this, it prints. So really, you don't need to hold like bells and whistles as long as you have things that I'm talking about nailed down in the first place, right? So that was first framework. The second one is personalized first line and offer led a one-liner question. So, hi, first name, I was in your website, so you do blah blah blah. Curious if we could help you increase your website conversions by 30% within 90 days, just like we did for case study name. Would you be interested in hearing how? Your signature here, and in the PS line, we usually add the guarantee. So if we don't deliver the promised results within the time frame, we'll keep working for free until we do. Uh, but you can also like include, depends on your guarantee. You can sometimes include this guarantee in your question right away, right? Just like you included the case study, you can also add a guarantee as well. But after that, the third framework is case study offer and call to action. Basically, this is where you are using your case study as an offer. So, hi, first name, notice you're also in the X industry. So I thought I would reach out. So, like, obviously, here you are mentioning the industry that you have case study in. So we recently helped case study increase their website conversions by 30% within 90 days working together. Mind if I share more info how we can help you do the same? Signature, and once again, your guarantee, right? So these frameworks are not set in stone. Like, feel free to experiment with your own scripts. However, this will give you like a good starting point and good baseline. So make sure that they always include the components like mentioned above, like whatever script you write, you know, and you don't have to be really a world class copywriter to like write scripts that get responses because, as I mentioned, well targeted lead list with good offer plus decent copy will make you so much money. Like, let me just put this. Okay, I'll do like this. So on to the next step. Okay, after you know what scripts to write, I assume you already will start getting positive replies rolling in. So not every positive reply is going to book a call right away because people are busy, right? They genuinely forgot to get back to you. They either got distracted with other tasks inside their business or like in their personal life. So that doesn't mean they're not interested. You just have to keep following up with them until they book a call or clearly state that they're not interested. So by that time, you know that, okay, you should stop pursuing them, right? But until then, be persistent and like don't make rushed assumptions only because they did not book a call on the first attempt, right? So at our company, we have a follow-up process that can be broken down into two parts. So one is a reminder sequence, which is pretty short. That's why I have like it only contains like 10% of the total uh, process. And here's the value sequence, which is about like 90% of the total sequence, right? So the reminder sequence consists of like two follow-ups which act as a simple reminders. That's why it's only takes up, as I said, like 10%. And most of our booked calls come from this part actually. And here's what it looks like, right? So the first is manual reply. This is the initial message you send to the prospect when they replied with an interest. Second is simple nudge. So you send it like 3 days later after you manually reply. Here you give the prospect a simple reminder in case they missed your message or forgot to book a call. And most of the times this works pretty well. Like most of our calls come from this. And if they still don't reply 4 days after you ask for a reference, you ask whether there's somebody else, another contact in the company you should reach out to instead. And most of the time, they might say, "Yeah, you can reach out to John. He do in this department." They might give you their email, and you just start continue conversation with them, right? But if they don't respond to any of these emails, they're either not that interested or just not ready right now. So sending them, hey, just bumping this up emails will not work. And that's why you push the prospect into the long term value sequence. So the value sequence is a long-term follow-up that can last for 90 plus days. The purpose of the sequence is to provide the prospect with relevant information to make them confident in your ability to deliver, right? Your goal right here is to stay on top of the prospect's mind. So whenever they are ready to solve that problem that you are solving, you are the first person they think of. So you will not book a call at this stage with a like half-assed emails, as I mentioned above, like just bumping this up, this and that. Like even more, they will annoy the prospect, and most likely they will mark you as spam. So that's why in this sequence you must share stuff that builds trust, shows expertise, and makes the prospect familiar with your methodology, right? So things like case study, lead magnet, testimonials, videos and content, memes work really well. So spacing here is much bigger compared to the reminder sequence. So once again, you don't want to come across too spammy or needy. So you start with small increments and like slowly grow the spacing. And here's what it should look like after your reminder sequence ends and you start your value sequence, right? So the 5 days after uh, the reminder sequence. You send a case study of a client in a similar industry. Then you ask if they have seen a case study. 7 days after, you send a relevant meme. 10 days after, you send a lead magnet. Like there are a lot of things that can be considered as a lead magnet, right? So you can ask like ChatGPT to create a lead magnet for your service, but sometimes personalized videos, looms, or like doing any sort of small work for them upfront for free also works really well. 10 days after, you send some screenshots of what your clients say about you. You can also send them educational video that will be useful to the prospect. uh, LinkedIn post, a relevant post that showcases your expertise, and also 20 days after, share the recent win that your client got while working with you. So this sequence alone is around like 100 days long, but you can make it even longer if you have enough valuable content to back it up, and you can like literally keep going like forever. Okay, you can build like 1 year long sequence, but obviously you don't like send it every single day. As you can see, we start with like 5 day spacing, and it goes up to like 20, right? But you will reach a point where your spacing should be about like 30 days. So you email them once a month with a valuable resource. So just in case if they have decided to uh, pursue solving that problem, you will be there to kind of close the deal right there, right? So yeah, that's goes for all of the assets that I mentioned right here, and that's was about follow-ups. And now I'll move to the last part, which is setting up the pre-call flows. Now, by this stage, you should already be getting positive replies and booking the calls, but that's only half of the battle because you still have to close the prospect, right? And if you never sold to the cold traffic before, I had to burst your bubble, but it won't be as easy as with the referrals or warm traffic because they have no idea who you are. They saw your email, thought it was interesting, and booked a call to learn more. That doesn't mean that they're going to buy. So, to make your sales process easier, you'll need to nurture them before the conversation. And pre-call flows will make your job easier in several ways. Prospects will be more confident in your ability to actually deliver on your promise. Prospects will be more familiar with what you do, and prospects will have less objections and give you less pushback on the call. So, some material that you'll need is you want to put yourself in the prospect's shoes. Think of the questions they might be asking themselves whenever they book a call with you. Like, what is the process like? What is different about this guy, about this agency? Will it work for me? Have they done it before for someone else? So, to tackle all these objections up front, you will need a video sales letter. So, a 5 minute video where you give a high level overview of what you do and how you do it, a case study, a written document where you explain everything in detail, how you helped your past client get the similar outcome that you are promising them. Client interview, like a short 10-minute video where your past client talks about what results they got and what it's like to work with you. And you can actually embed the client interview into your case study. So to make your case study much more believable, right? And the fourth is text or video testimonials. So you can make a bundle of screenshots and video testimonials that your clients gave you. And even if it's a small win, include that too, because it's much better to have something than having nothing to show, right? And once you have all this material, then you should actually set up the pre-call flows. So what you do is you don't want to send everything at once and overwhelm your prospect. And here's the sequence that you can follow. Now, immediately after booking a call, send testimonials and set expectations for the call, right? Just like right away as they book. Then, 48 hours before the call, send a VSL explaining your process and answering some like frequently asked questions that you might be getting on like social media, on sales calls, in DMs, wherever. 24 hours before the call, then you send a case study to document who preferred like seeing a written content and not maybe like videos. And 3 hours before the call, you send them a client interview to build the anticipation for the call, right? So, pretty simple diagram. shows you how you should do it. And like we usually use Calendly for this, but you can use any scheduling tool that has a feature to send emails or reminders before the call, like HubSpot, Cal. Like there are a lot of ways. So this is not really going to be a problem, right? So just to recap, everything you need how to like launch your successful cold email campaign from scratch is you should like set up your domains and mailboxes, identify your ICP, tweak your offer based on your ICP, scrape 3,000 leads, write scripts, set up follow-up sequence, and set up the pre-call flows. So have like more detailed breakdown just like to sum everything up for you, and I will include once again the link to this document below in the description, so you can, if you prefer to just read it instead of listening to this video over and over again. But yeah, and if you enjoyed the video, like, subscribe, comment, whatever. And if you actually want to generate leads on autopilot, if you want us to do it on your behalf, you can focus on other important tasks while still generate high quality meetings for your business and only pay us for the calls that show up. No retainers, no long term contracts. Just book a call down below in the description to learn more. Right. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you for your attention, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.